So you want to be a dungeon master?
So, you want to dungeon master.
So you want to be a DM?
Name some feats, okay? Feats.
So you want to be a DM?
That's great. We're here to help. I'm Taylor.
And I'm Justin. This week, we're talking about hard mode DMing, and we're joined by professional dungeon master on StartPlaying games, occasional hive mind of artistic bugs, lover of centaurworld and over the garden wall, a true Lesehest, a friend of the channel, and starring as Corbin Vick-Sørense in our upcoming actual play, Kids on Jetskis. It's Millie Odegard. So let's sit down and chat, and we can crank it up to hard mode DMing. Millie, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
An
I'm very happy to
absolute
be here.
pleasure. So happy. Can't wait to get into it. Let's jump into the episode. But first, it's going to be a but first. So gang, this question's kind of for the two of you, really. So I have this friend, right? Will remain nameless.
Sure.
And they have technically killed some of their player characters. They've done that before. They've experienced character death, but it's either been a genuine accident, a roll of the dice, like, for example, like a nat 1 on a death saving throw kind of thing. Something that's decided by the universe more than by this DM. Or it's been, the player can't make the rest of the series and has to bow out of a campaign, and so you just kill their character off. But it's so mutual that it doesn't really feel the same.
It's crazy.
How can you guys, and I'll pass this information along to them, how can we let this DM know that character death is not necessarily a bad thing?
Well, character death is not exactly the end for your friend. Yeah, I mean, that's really, I think the ultimate, one of the bigger points to make on character death is that it is not necessarily the end of your character. There are ways to not necessarily hand wave it, but you can kind of hand wave it and just kind of extract some sort of deal from them. From the player themselves, as to get their character back, or you could have the party come and bring them back, or
go to the afterlife, make a deal with the devil, some kind of outrageous
something along those
thing.
lines.
Make it the next leg of the adventure.
I also think that a good, well-timed character death is kind of beautiful.
I think it can be.
Yeah, death can be only the beginning, truly. You can make so many interesting character choices and narrative choices from death. And we shouldn't be afraid of diving into those as well.
I agree.
So I guess
I totally agree.
Your friend can rest easy knowing that they are, it's going to be okay.
Kill another character.
Kill another one,
yeah. Kill another one. Kill all of them.
Interesting. I'll let them know this. So do you guys ever feel like, as DMs, do you ever encounter a situation where, sure, the story is very like, we love this, this is like a tragic moment, it's dramatic, there's gravity here, of course there's always the plan B idea of like, we could get the soul back, and there's millions of ways through D&D that you could resurrect somebody or find an NPC who can do it, whatever. Wish spells, the whole nine. But is there ever a time where you're kind of like, I've been playing this, and this is what my friend said. Again, I'm their vessel today.
Sure,
really, I'm a conduit. And so what they had said to me
from the afterlife.
No, they're very much alive still. And what they had said to me was, sometimes you're just so deep in a campaign, and the stories of those characters are so intertwined with both the plot and the world building and everything like that. You've been playing these characters for so many years that at a certain point, it feels like the players get plot armor, where you're just like, I don't want to start over. Is that valid, or is this lazy? How do we feel?
I think it's valid. I think if you spend years and years on a campaign and do you like the story that you're telling with the players, then yeah, I mean, a level of plot armor is okay. I think in the scenarios with a death, it would be more of a side quest kind of a deal rather than an instant hand wave of death type of situation, I think. Just because I think that, like we've been saying already, there's a story to be told after death.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, maybe that character makes a character sheet for a couple of sessions, like a new character to help with the group, and then you can do a quest that way, something along those lines. There's a million options. I think that even if it's an accidental or the character themselves has like plot armor, I think that plot armor can extend past a few sessions, and you can still, tell the player, hey, we're going to get your character back, but we're going to have to do some stuff to get there.
Yeah, it's like whatever is fun for you and your players, I think, is always the right answer. There are so many voices in sort of the TTRPG community who are loud and say that there is a right or a wrong way of doing things, but at the end of the day, you matter. What you think is fun matters. So if you think the plot armor is fun because you want to keep the sort of same actors in the story, then to hell with what anyone else says. It doesn't, like, they're not at your table, they don't fucking matter. But yeah, there are sorry, am I allowed to curse? I will
Fuck that.
Oh,
Yeah, no.
yeah, absolutely.
Sorry, the faces, I was just like, oopsie.
No, you're
That was
good.
just funny.
You're good. Yeah.
What was I even saying? So yeah, like whether it is like an immediate and then you come back because you're all divinely favored by this god who will then just resurrect you as many times as necessary. That sounds fun. That sounds fun. How many pieces of yourself do you lose along the way for every death? And then you can role play that. It doesn't have to be like mechanically you have to then go on a quest unless you want to. Whatever you want. Find a way to make
100%.
it work. And don't listen to the people who tell you you're doing your game wrong if you're having fun.
Yeah. Literally the only way to play a TTRPG wrong is to not have fun. That's like
Literally.
that's literally the only way to do it wrong.
Yeah.
I agree. Well, I will let them know. I appreciate this advice, gang. Thank you guys so much.
Yeah, just pass that along to
my friend.
Your friend.
Don't tell them I was cursing though, because I'm very polite.
I will let them know. So before we get into the meat of the episode, I simply must bring up the Patreon, gang. You got to check it out. It's incredible. There's so many cool things on there. First of all, this episode is available early with no ads or anything on Patreon, if you're a member, at the $2 a month level. Not to mention you get homebrew subclasses. We did Bard College of the Crypt, a sort of spooky storyteller bard that can turn into the monsters of the stories that they tell. We have a college clown bard. We have a Jack Johnson beach bard. I love bards. We probably won't be making a bard for a little bit because I kind of have stepped too heavily into that. But we also have coming up a punk sort of like socio-anarchist like punk rocker fighter subclass. One of their abilities is just called universal healthcare, and you get to share your second wind ability to like your friends and stuff. At 18th level, you get ability called No Masters, where once per day you can flip off the DM and make them re-roll the dice.
All of that is so ridiculous.
But specifically, you have to flip them. You have to be like, fuck you, DM, and then you get to re-roll a D20, or they have to re-roll a D20. Very funny stuff. So check out the Patreon. It's amazing. Link in the description.
Not
Right,
universal healthcare being part of the fantasy, though. Come on, America.
In America,
it is. No, but it
unfortunately,
is
yeah,
though. No, but it is though, Millie.
Yeah, like you're making
No.
like fantasy magic stuff, and it's just like, what if we had good things? What if things
Yeah.
were nice?
It's not
What if, like-
good over here.
Yeah. The trauma that you feel after you like potentially get into like an accident or like hurt a limb or something, and someone says, "Do you want me to call an ambulance?" And in America, it's like, "Are you fucking dumb? Do you think I'm made of money? You
why would
idiot!
you
I'll
say
hobble
that
there.
to me, bro? Like, why would you say that?
You idiot! I'll take an Uber.
Of
It's
course, I will.
probably cheap."
Of course, I will pay a ride share app to take me to the
Yeah.
hospital in this emergency.
Mhm.
And it is an Uber
I'll sit
share
in-
too, where you have to like the other passengers are getting in, sharing the
Uber
ride. You're like,
pool.
Your
"God,
star rating goes down
it's
because
just
you're
a flesh
bleeding on
wound.
the others.
fine.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. It's really hard to get a ride after that, but
Oh, this is the
get an
bleeder.
ambulance bill.
That's crazy. Okay, let's get into the interview a little bit. Now, first, right off the bat, I have heard Tail because I had listened to a little bit of the interview that you did with our friends over at Capes and Cloaks. And so I had heard Tail that your players don't necessarily refer to you as like DM or dungeon master or even gamekeeper or anything, but God. Is that true?
well, yeah, there's an expression in Norwegian that like a child that you love is known by many names. So there's so you get a lot of nicknames if people love you. And I love myself, so I named myself God. And then the
Wow.
players, these are my home game players.
Mhm.
So not the people who like pay me money. If you pay me money, you don't have to call me God. But otherwise, you have to, because I'm doing
Otherwise,
free work. Yeah. So yes. One of my yeah, absolutely.
I love that so much. I think that my favorite thing that I've ever been called, like in lieu of DM or something like that, is from Meadow, who always referred to me as Your Honor. And it was because she was always bringing some kind of legal
Yeah.
case forward.
Yeah,
it was always
so much
a
fun.
case to be heard. Of,
You
Your
knew it.
Honor, let me plead my case of why I should do this thing.
That
And I
opens you
liked that.
up to objections, though.
Mhm.
Being
It
God
certainly
does
does.
not. Yeah, I don't have to. I don't
Valid.
have to listen.
Very valid.
That is funny.
I do listen to my players though. When I feel
Mhm.
when God feels merciful, she does listen.
Put that on a t-shirt.
Mm.
When God feels merciful, she does listen. That's really fun. Okay. That's awesome. So talk to me about children's animated shows. What is it about them that interests you? I feel the very same way. Like when I saw that a little bit, that like a clip of this idea of children's media being looked down upon or like brushed aside or kind of discounted.
Yes.
I mean, Taylor feels the same way. We've talked about Adventure Time and different things. I know Taylor's a big Centaur World fan. I haven't watched that one.
I love
But like
Centaur
Over the
World.
Garden Wall and Avatar: The Last Airbender, there's Mitchell's vs. Machines, Looney Tunes.
Centaur
I
World
could
is
go.
very much not a children's show.
Well, it
Well-
is like age rated for like 10 or 7 and
Are
up.
you serious?
Yeah, it is absolutely.
That's
But I think
crazy.
children can handle stuff way more than we give
Yeah.
them credit for. I think like yes, it might be some of the things might be a little scary for them, but like
Yeah.
when you as an adult sit down to watch a horror movie, you're going to be scared, but being scared isn't necessarily a bad thing. It expands your horizons, and children definitely need opportunities to have their horizons expanded, not to just be put in front of something that just numbs their mind completely and doesn't engage their imagination.
That's why I like regular show.
Regular show. Yeah, that's another one.
Watching a lot of that recently.
So what I love that explanation because I do think that fear in a weird way is an important tool, and it is like a storytelling technique of like remembering things. Like if you go super far back to like Grimm's fairy tales, like they're fucking scary. Like
Yep.
OG Cinderella, terrifying. Like that's not a normal story. Stuff like that is wild. And these were children's stories at a time. And there's a lot of like just evolution of storytelling having in addition to the normal like folklore and like spreading traditions and stuff, it was also like super educational of like, here's a story of me eating this poisonous berry and then I fucking died. How scary. And it's like, don't eat the berry, dude. It's a scary story. So like it has like evolutionarily like imprinting important lessons through scaring kids. It's kind of weird to say, but I love a children's TV show that is like, yes, it's like for kids, but I love it when they like take into account adults who watch it, and there's those jokes that are in there or lessons or something. Like, for me, it's and I've mentioned this on the pod, I'm sure, my love of Bluey. Now that is like a children's show.
Yeah, that's for
That's a
the
little different.
youngins. That's for the youngins.
But tell me why I was sobbing during one of the episodes talking about infertility. Like, what the fuck? It's a beautiful episode, and it's done so carefully, and like, it was just like, holy shit. What is happening?
I think one thing that draws me to children's media is we all carry the child we were along with us at all points. And I think I love feeding that child as much as I love catering to the adult and the teenager in me. Because every now and then I will watch like shitty rom-com stuff, and then the teenager in me is like, but then and then I want like really imaginative, impactful stories for the child in me, and then the adult in me is just like, let's watch someone's head get cut off. Let's do that. Or like Andor with the politics and everything. Or like a movie that moved me a lot was The Banshees of Inisherin, which is like an Irish
hell yeah. Saw that on a plane.
So good. Yeah, it's so good.
Colin Farrell.
Yeah, it's a stunning movie, like the cinematography, and then just like such honest and heart-wrenching dialogue as well. Very beautiful. But I think like finding a way to, I guess, honor and cater to every like stage of your life. That's why I refuse to like.
That's a really cool way of thinking about it.
Yeah, I do not look away from something thinking I'm too old for that. I mean, we're TTRPG people. We're like, there's probably a bunch of
you're preaching to the choir to a certain degree. Yeah.
Also, animated kids show
yesterday.
Animated kids show like villains tend to be very good. There's some really good animated villains out there.
You're so right.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
They're so. The word campy comes to mind just because of how like over the top they tend to be, especially like in the past. Like my brain went to Jafar and Ursula, and I'm like, talk about campy. Like,
and
fun.
Like Shan Yu from Mulan as well. He's wonderful. With Disney stuff, there's also like for TV, like the series, like the villain in Centaurworld, I think is really cool.
Oh, the
really,
Nightmare
really cool.
King is so cool.
He is, and they use music very effectively as well. The villain in Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, amazing. Also using music effectively. Also, semi-inspired the villain in Sinners as well.
I heard,
which is so cool. I wish, because when I was obsessed with Sinners, and I was also obsessed with Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, and then I saw an interview of Ryan Coogler saying that, I was just like, my guy, he knows. And then like She-Ra and the Princesses of Power,
hell yes.
Owl House, like all of these like really dark villains that you get because the medium that contains it is by nature a cartoon is less explicit. You're not watching a person with like all of their human emotion going through all of these really harrowing things. You're watching just a sort of a simplification that acts as a buffer emotionally so that it isn't too much for a child. And you have death, you have abuse, you have like horrible traumas and war and all of these things in these series that children absolutely can handle, but you cannot show it to them on that like close like you can't shoot it really closely. An adult can handle that. I think that's the only difference, really. How much you linger on it and how close you get to it is the only thing that differs for me for like different age ranges.
Yeah, definitely. Wow. So good. Have you ever, and this is before we move on, do you ever watch any anime?
I had an
Speaking of
anime
animation
phase.
and stuff like that?
I mean, recently it's been like free. I really liked Free Run. And
Yeah, Free Run is good.
Dungeon Meshi, Delicious in Dungeon is
I
the
love Delicious
English.
in
Yeah,
Dungeon.
I mean
Yeah.
the D&D nerds have to.
Yeah, you have to. You
It
have
was so
to enjoy
good,
it a little
yeah.
bit.
It was
Everybody's thought about making the dungeon chef guy.
Yeah,
Everybody's
I've
got
done it.
that.
Yeah, I've done it.
Everybody's
absolutely.
thought about that.
Like it felt like a love letter to
Mhm.
everything that is like sort of Western high fantasy and also TTRPGs, dungeon crawling games and stuff like that. So it just
Mhm.
felt very homey to me, and to be sitting there like, oh. So
Very
yeah,
fun.
but with anime, I had a period that I was really into it, and then I got sick of it very because it's like the really popular stuff gets a bit tropey for me.
It very does.
Oh, yeah.
And it was
Oh, yeah.
difficult for me to find stuff that I could like. I felt like I outgrew it, but I didn't have like enough of I just remembered a manga that I liked as well, Claymore. Do you guys know that one? It's like
I've heard of it.
it's like
I've seen it.
half monster warrior ladies who look angelic, who are like killing monsters
Ooh.
and stuff. Yeah.
I have heard of this.
Yeah. And I just remember that one as well. So I have memories of things I expanded into as a teenager that like stuck with me. Like I remember Claymore, and I remember one called Death Parade. Oh, Soul Eater, obviously.
Soul Eater's a lot of fun.
The gothy old
Mhm.
people, they love Soul Eater.
Mhm.
We have to. It's like when you start getting gothy, they just hand you like you have to
Mhm.
watch. If you're gonna get into anime, you have to watch this one. Sorry. I'm just like, okay.
Did anybody hand you Death Note? I feel like Death Note is kind of gothy in some regards.
In some regards, but the men are so annoying.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That like trope of like I'm so the anime guy
so
who's so intelligent.
fucking smart.
Mhm.
I'm
You don't
so
even
smart.
know how smart I am.
And all
Yeah.
like, have you seen those edits of Death Note where it's just like instead of all of the internal like monologues that they are doing, like assuming stuff about each other, it's just them looking at each other, and the scene is like 2 seconds long.
I believe it. I believe it.
Yeah,
Death Note.
I'm
There were times. Yeah.
yeah.
There's a lot of times.
I did start
animes.
it. Yeah.
Mhm.
But I don't think I finished it.
That's so fair. Anime
Yeah.
is so interesting because it can be so hit or miss. Sometimes it's like I'll start some and like put them on in the background and work on things, and then like an episode will happen where something interesting happens, and I'm like, okay, now I'm in. But the first 30 episodes, I don't really know.
Yeah. I will say Studio Ghibli stuff.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Always,
Yeah,
forever.
always,
But
yeah.
everyone loves Studio Ghibli stuff. So
Yeah.
that's like hardly worth mentioning. And Haikyuu, the volleyball anime.
Oh, the volleyball one.
That's
Yeah.
amazing.
I watched the first season during
it's
quarantine.
so wholesome, and it makes me cry because I'm just like they
is cute.
let us get to know the opposing team as well, and I'm sat here like, but I want them both to win. Like, why can't they? Oh my god, why can't they both win?
It is interesting how I'm gonna get so many tangents. I love watching team volleyball during the Olympics and stuff like that. Like it just fascinates me. Beach volleyball, the duos, like all of it. It's just I fucking love watching that sport. In high school when we would do it during gym class, I loved it. Although I never played like seriously or anything, right? So I remember watching Haikyuu and being like, okay, so the person in the middle who wears a different color is called the libero. Got it. And I'm like learning the positions. And I was like, I can't wait for the Olympics. And then every time the Olympics upset me because I realize how fucking corrupt they are. But anyway,
yeah.
So congratulations to the U.S. women's hockey team.
That's
Man,
right.
go fuck yourself. Okay, so the mind moves forward. The paint layers up. Glop, glop, and shellac. Tell us what you like about Richard Seiken. That is I see Taylor's face. That is a line from a poem by Richard
Mhm.
Sykin.
He
I may
uses
be
a lot of
mispronouncing his last name, but
no, I think that's right. It's from I think the War of the Foxes poetry collection. Um and
yeah, it's
because I
like
have
landscape blurred with conquerors or something like
yeah,
that.
yeah. It's one of my favorite poems by him. I have because I have two of his poetry collections. I don't buy a lot of poetry collections, but his for some reason really stood out to me. He has one about like where someone is like the dragon as well, and it's like he's lying to you in the beginning about not being the dragon, and then he's like, okay, fine, I'm the dragon, but you still get to be the hero, like that kind of stuff. And I'm just like, oh, I yeah, what is it about his poetry? I don't know. I think poetry in general is sort of like making a friend, and then you get to know someone better and better and better over time, because poetry begs to be reread and
Mm-hmm.
sat with and and read aloud as well. So it feels so alive compared to, and I like reading aloud when I'm reading a book
Mhm.
of like fiction as well every now and then. So yeah, I just find it to be extremely evocative and alive, and something that you can really take with you and grow very familiar with, and you can find new meaning. Like if
Mm-hmm.
you read it on your 15th read of a poem, you'd be like, oh, maybe that's what that means.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that's why he breaks the line here instead of
Yeah.
here or whatever.
It's hyper intentional. That's what I love about poetry. It's
Mm.
like from really like structured poetry, it feels like a word puzzle, whereas someone who's like found the exact piece they needed, whether it is like syllables or like
Mm.
rhyme, it is craft. It's like a master craftsman putting like a mosaic, like
Mhm.
putting that like, and then an
Yeah,
image
yeah.
reveals. So yeah,
Do love
I
that.
I love poetry. I love it.
I also used to be very into it back in high school and college. I got really into it. I started reading a ton of like sonnets by Shakespeare, and then like got into I read a book in high school, I want to say. I had to look it up yesterday because I was like, what is this book called? I just remember there being a book about a group of high schoolers who were going through like a poetry class of some kind or something, or they were preparing for a poetry contest or a show. I can't remember. And I looked it up yesterday, and everything was pointing me to a book called A Bronx Masquerade.
Hmm.
Highly recommend. It was so
Oh.
interesting. It was very like Chuck Palahniuk did a book kind of like it, where it was like it's written like a fictional novel, like it following this group of high schoolers, right? But then it would have the high schoolers' poems, and it would just be like standalone, a poetry by this character. And each poem felt so different. Like each character is like writing their own poetry, which means that the author is able to write in different voices. And it was just so cool because, like, I remember one poem was done like the words were spaced in such a way that it made like a letter Z or something like that. I remember just being like, you could do that. That's great. That doesn't add anything to the performance necessarily, but like to the on the page, it looked beautiful.
Yeah, no,
Um,
form is definitely
Mhm.
everything's a part of it.
yeah. I have you written your own poetry?
Yes, I have, and I do, but and I've entered like competitions more so not to try to win, because I am it was like a recent last year I rediscovered my love for poetry. And I have a bachelor's degree in sound design and music.
Oh,
Um
sick. That's
yeah.
awesome.
So but that was like, I came from sort of the singer-songwriter perspective. So I've always written lyrics, but writing lyrics isn't exactly the same, because that is in concert with melody. And melody is, for a lot of people, the most evocative thing about a song. And they don't necessarily always listen to the words. So
Mm.
words can come second for like maybe half of people. So there's overlap between lyrics and poetry, but it's not a circle. It's a Venn diagram.
Right. No,
It's
it's very
not a
different.
full circle. So yeah,
No, I
last
think
year I
country
was
music
just
in America proves that. Right off the bat. I
God.
fucking shit on country music all the time. This is not, I'm fully joking. Of course, like the history of country music comes from like Black people in America writing about their struggles. That is not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is like current pop radio
Bro
country music that's like,
Yeah.
and a truck and a beer. Like, fuck you.
Yeah.
To that person, fuck you. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
That song is crazy and it makes me laugh though.
Yeah, no, definitely. There are different reasons for why people enjoy things, definitely. But with poetry, I don't think anyone who doesn't enjoy words gets really into poetry. So I got back into it last year and I started submitting for competitions, more so to get myself to finish things. Because that's one thing. You can work on a poem forever. You can be like, there surely is a better word. There surely is a better order. There surely is a better blah, 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 blah. And then the poem is never finished. So it was more so to just get things done than for any other reason. So I'm a hobbyist when it comes to poetry, I think.
I love that. I need to try and find some of my older stuff because I wrote a lot of stuff in college and I would do open mics. I remember the first time I did a poetry, it wasn't specifically poetry, but it was just like an open mic in general. I chose to do poetry, of course. But I had been watching so much like Def Jam and like other like Button Poetry's YouTube account and stuff. Like I had been watching a lot of people perform and do poetry. They're never reading off of a piece of paper, right? They're fucking performing. So I think I gotta fucking memorize this guy. This poem that I wrote about the 4 seasons and how each season, the 4 elements like fire, water, earth, air, and how each of them relates to music. You know, like fire has to do with like energy and and music gives you energy, and water, it can cool you down and chill you out, and so can water and music and blah, blah, blah. That was the whole thing. I think during the earth section, I make a Lauryn Hill reference because you know, hills are made of earth, but then Lauryn Hill is an artist. I don't know.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Okay.
I tried to memorize it. Yeah, I tried to memorize it. And they were like, okay, I went first because I was like in my seat just going, and then the water becomes the bomb. Like just reciting the poem over and over again. Like, I'm gonna forget. Got up there, did my best, forgot a few lines, whatever. Like was so nervous. And then sat down and every person after me either had like a full laptop or like a piece of paper, just read off notebooks. And I was like, this isn't a competition. This is just like a little cheesy event for free on campus. You idiot. Ever since then, I started reading them off paper and man, it improved the performance so much. To really be able to be like, all right, now we can get into it. I used to write comedy poems sometimes too. I wrote a poem about the beginning of the universe and how it was started by Paulrus the Walrus.
Interesting.
Yeah, I just like the name and it made me laugh.
Yeah, I've learned that about you, that you like silly little names for things.
In the
a lot
in
of
the
rhyming
glory
and
of
a lot of
cod,
alliteration. There's
the
a
fish
lot
shop.
No, but alliteration, I will
love
alliteration. Ride and I will die for alliteration.
Yeah.
It is one of my favorite like literary devices.
It's so good. It's just so fun. I love a tongue twister. I love like I do it sometimes in our intro little paragraph thing. I'll just include a little thing. Be like, let me see how many D words I can find. And I'm like, a new tab, and I'm like, D adjectives, D adverbs, D nouns. I'll just look them all up because you don't need to ask ChatGPT. Fucking use your brain.
Yeah, literally.
Getting more pissed off about that on the daily. Just every time I see it. So I know that when you first started TikTok,
Yeah.
you kind of obviously, like, I imagine you were interested in D&D and tabletop and stuff like that, but it seems like the first couple of videos you had kind of started as like a book talk kind of situation.
Yeah,
A little bit.
I
Not
kind
that
of want
you're
to do all of
necessarily,
it, to be
yeah, not that
honest.
you're
That's the
starting
thing.
with like, hey, I'm
Yeah.
doing this for business niche SEO reasons, but like, um, so you're an avid reader, hence
Mm.
me looking up. I did a modicum of research. Tell me if this is so far off, because I think that's kind of funny if it is.
Mm-hmm.
So I am familiar with the fact that in America and some other Western countries, when you have an avid reader, we would refer to them as like a bookworm.
Yeah.
And there's different phrases in different countries and different regions. The slang, not just literally translating book and worm to that language, but rather they might say a different phrase entirely. Like I've heard, I don't know how true this is, but in France, sometimes you'll be called an ink drinker, which I think is
Ooh.
the funnest one.
That's the best one.
I've already
France
named
wins.
a deity off of this.
France
Yeah,
wins. That's it. Game over.
I'm
I
half
think
French, so I win, actually.
a knowledge domain deity named the ink drinker is fucking
Mm.
sick.
Ink in general is
Mm.
like, it's like, yeah, it's like paint but for words, you know? Like,
It's so good.
poetry
It's so
right
good.
there.
Like the ink splatters and stuff like that, like the
Mhm.
motif or like the aesthetic of like when
Yeah,
characters are like, and then the ink comes and it becomes a tattoo, and it's just like you can do so many things with it.
yeah.
Yes.
Ink itself
Yes.
has just kind of this evocative kind of anything goes type of deal. Like a
Yeah.
lot of like it's used a lot in media as, like you're saying, just kind of this weird flowing substance that will either go up your arm and do some crazy stuff, where it goes across the wall and makes a beautiful painting or what
Mhm.
have you. It's usually
Yeah.
like, it's always the ink is in the bottle, and then when the ink comes out of the bottle, anything can happen.
It's
Literally,
uncontained.
the
Yeah.
ink, the blackness is the unknown of potential. And then
Oof.
once you open that bottle, you can create whatever you want with it.
Yes.
There you go. Speaking of poetry,
Oh yeah.
so back to books. So I had done a modicum of research. What I looked up for bookworm in Norway was
Yeah.
reading horse.
Yeah, it is. It's
That's
true.
And
hilarious.
that is what that is
That's
what
so cool.
Lesehest is supposed to mean.
Yeah.
Okay. Nailed it.
That's
All
Yeah.
right. The research,
what a
that
word.
random ass forum I found was right.
Yeah,
Folks,
and this
trust
is
the
the
internet.
animal horse, everyone. Just so you're aware that Justin's not calling me anything untoward here. It's the
Oh,
animal
no,
horse.
did it come across that way? I definitely
No.
did.
I
I
just
hit
think
the
it was
S.
really
It's
funny.
reading horse. This
Yeah.
library is great.
Yeah, I did hear that about the hose. They do be reading.
Honestly, now I'm thinking of like if you had a reading nook / strip club. Wait, there's something here.
There's
Is there? No, but Justin, like, is there though? Like, is there a lot of
No, not in
demographical
real life.
overlap? Okay.
In my fantasy world,
Okay.
like if you were like in Sphinx City, this like magical New York City, because we already have a gun shop / strip club called Heat,
Mm-hmm.
specifically male gnome performers, by the way, which is very fun, owned by old madam gnome. Very fun. Anyway, but I just think that would be funny. So since you are a reading horse,
Uh-huh.
what is the last book that you picked up and started reading and you were like, man, fuck whoever wrote this book. This book sucks. Like, let's just spill the tea. You don't have to name names necessarily,
No,
like authors.
I'm gonna
but
name names.
I think
I'm gonna name names. Trust and
let's do
believe.
it.
I
Yeah.
have personal beef with T. Kingfisher's The Twisted Ones, because it is a
Okay.
steaming pile of shit. And I finished it because I was reading it with sorry, I don't believe in suppressing my feelings or the truth, and that's the truth. This book is very bad.
No. Yes.
because I read this with a friend of mine for our 2-person book club, and he picked it and I've heard good things about the other books of this author. So when he suggested one of her books, I was just like, okay, cool, we'll read this. And we both hated it. So it has created core memories for me, core memories that will never leave me, but all those memories are clouded by my utter hatred for this book. So my entire experience with this author is just how much I despised the main character. This is supposed to be like a folk horror type book.
Right. Yes.
And the character does not stop trying to be funny in any of the moments ever. She's also got a really stupid nickname. Which I can fuck with, but her nickname is
Mouse?
Mouse, yeah. Her name is Melissa. Her nickname is Mouse, and when that's mentioned, she's like, I don't remember why. Okay, you don't you couldn't add something like, oh, my dad called me that. No, it's just like,
right. No, we're just gonna narratively end this right here.
My nickname's Cabbage. Don't ask me why, because I don't remember.
Don't worry about it. Cabbage, deal with it.
Yeah, forget about it.
Yeah, it's like. But because I'm just like,
but there's a story there, yeah.
Yeah, there is a story there, and you're edging me, and then you're punching me in the nose with jokes after that aren't funny. This main character is so unfunny as well.
Oh, geez.
Oh boy.
Yeah. Oh, and then sorry, this is spoilers. I'm not done.
Okay, go ahead. Yeah, keep it going.
I'm not done.
Come on.
Like she has a dog, right? And she loves the dog. But then when something bad happens, and then like the dog lives. Spoilers, so don't worry, anyone. The dog lives, but the dog disappears when there's a monster about, and she's talked about how important this dog is for her, and then she just stays inside and doesn't go look for the dog. I'm just like, and then the dog comes back unharmed, so she doesn't have to do the hard thing to get the dog back. And I was just like, oh, cool, she's gonna go do something now. She doesn't. The dog was named Bongo.
I'm looking at the names in the Wikipedia, and Bongo, the neighbor's name is Foxy.
Yeah.
Like, what are we doing? There's somebody named Uriah.
Yeah.
Like, this is crazy.
I hate this book. This book is
so funny. That last little diatribe reminded me of have you seen Billy Madison? He does this whole thing at the end, like a 5-minute speech on the girl who lost her dog and something, and he's like, she went out and she put up posters for an hour, and it's like, come on, your dog's missing. You go out there and you find your fucking dog.
Yeah, but like literally, because she was so fond of this dog, and this dog had helped her. Yeah. Like protected her, dragged her away from monsters by his leash, been a faithful companion to her. And when he goes missing and she knows there's a monster around, she's just like, man, fuck Bongo. I never liked him. I never liked Bongo. Yeah, fuck Jesus. Bongo.
That's so funny.
The monster can play whatever solo they want on bongos. I don't fucking care. I'm staying safe in my house. And the house isn't even that safe. So she's just right.
This sounds crazy. This book.
It's a bad book, but it's if you force someone to read it with you, it's a fun time.
So brings me to my next question, because we talk a lot on the channel about how we find it quite easy to find inspiration for stuff related to our TTRPGs, right? Like whether it's just an entire campaign, it could be just like a tiny detail of your world building, a character, whatever, right? An encounter. So this book that you fucking hate.
Yes.
If you had to, could you take something out of it and apply it to a TTRPG in some way?
There's definitely cool stuff in it still, though. There's definitely,
there you go.
Like the monster. The monster is cool because it's the character refers to the monsters as effigies, which are kind of there was like a strung up deer carcass or something, and it's like a skull and like rotting flesh and like trinkets as well, like gathered trinkets. And I'm just like, that's dope. And I honestly, that rotting deer carcass deserved better than to be in that shitty book. Should I adopt a rotting deer carcass? Am I ready to be a mother? Is that what I'm saying? Am I discovering new things about myself on this podcast?
That deer carcass deserves so
Save
much
it
better
from a
than to be
life
in
of
that shitty book.
mediocrity. Yeah. Oh my goodness.
But yes, so I like the monster. I really like the monster.
Okay.
I think there's like the setting itself is also very like folk horror. So and the premise is cool because she goes to this small town. Well, not really even town, even like very rural place because was it a family member had died, but I don't remember if it was maybe the mother or I don't because whatever. It doesn't matter. It's not like it's significant. Grandmother? I think the grandmother, and she was a
grandfather.
bitch.
Hold on, her cruel and abusive grandmother has died.
I remember things. The grandma, she was a bitch, but I liked it because Mouse deserves to be punished for her crimes.
And that's why we call her Mouse. Trying to trap this lady.
Yeah,
wow.
Like grandma would put me in traps when I was younger. So now we call me Mouse. And I'm just like, you know what? Hell yeah, girl. What was I even saying?
That there were
What was
cool
the
parts
question?
about the book and their monster.
Oh, yeah.
The monster is interesting with all of the trinkets and trophies and little signs of their
the premise. The premise is cool because she's in this place that is like the hills are alive, and it's almost like changelings and like corrupting like fae stuff.
So not the sound of music.
Not a Sound of Music. This takes place in North Carolina.
No.
Yeah.
And it's
it's
trying
giving
to
like
clear out her grandmother's, like her grandmother was a hoarder and she's clearing out a hoarder house on her own. And I'm just like, this is all so cool.
And for people listening, Millie's not calling her a whore. She's calling her a hoarder. Just in case there's confusion there.
I know.
I've gotten it before.
I was calling her a whore.
Clearly.
Durr. Like durr, I was calling her a whore. Yeah.
That's so funny. Okay, so it reminds me of like Twilight Zone episodes, like the very, very small town that you kind of roll into, almost like Wicker Man vibes, or like the setup of Wicker Man, kind of where you just like you're passing through, you go to your car breaks down, and that next thing you know, you're like in the middle of a cult sacrifice, and you're like, Jesus.
Yeah.
And these guys are like, sorry, man, this is our crops are so good. Bummer.
Yeah.
Wrong place, wrong time.
Yeah.
Seriously.
No, like
have you met Mouse?
Yeah. Why we call it Mouse? I don't know. Never told us.
God, it's been so long we just forgot.
Probably a story there that it's not important.
It should be such a significant part.
It
like
really
if you're sticking to an animal as your nickname, despite having a normal human name you can use, Melissa, then you better fucking tell me why.
Yeah, just say that her name is Mouse and that's her legal name.
Right.
Because I'm pretty sure, correct me if I'm wrong, because it's been a freaking minute. And then
this
we're
is
gonna
America.
move on. But like
you call your kids weird things. Especially the white people. White people names. Sorry. That
No, you're
culturally
right.
insensitive. All right, am I being
No, it's so fair. So wait, what was I gonna say? Oh, To Kill a Mockingbird, the little girl's name is Scout. I don't think that's her nickname though, right? That's like her name. Her name is Scout Finch, right? Am I crazy?
I don't remember.
So you can give a kid a weird name in a book, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You could just call the kid Mouse.
Yeah.
It doesn't need to be a nickname for anything. It could just be Mouse, and we'll just accept that because it's North Carolina.
Yeah, having a weird name can tell you so much about a character. If a character then goes, yeah, I know it's a weird name. My parents are really strange. Then I learned something about you. If your parents would like literally call you something really weird that isn't normally a name, I know something new about you now. But the whole I don't know why.
Yeah, it's crazy for an author to just shut out an entire portion of a story.
Yeah.
It's like,
if
you're gonna do something crazy like that, it should be for a narrative reason. It should be at least, like you said, just something. Just give me one little bit of information. Not if this is like no butting yourself, except without the butt. It's just, hey, I came up with this really cool name. Let's run with it. Nah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I agree. I think that there's like a time and a place where maybe it could be like a cute little introspective thing for the author, but not in this context where it's the
Right.
name Mouse. Because like in oh god, what is the name of the John Green's super sad cancer book?
The Fault
The Fault in Our
Stars.
Stars.
Yeah.
The Fault in Our Stars, I read and then saw the movie, cried every
Mhm.
time. And then really, really liked it. But the main character's name is Hazel, and it had to do with because Hazel is an in-between color, and she is like in an in-between place. And so he names her Hazel because she's kind of neither green nor brown. She's both and like
Yeah.
transitioning. And that was like the purpose of the name, but it's not necessarily something that the character like comes out and is like, hey guys, let me exposit for you really quickly. Here's why I'm called this. But that would be a different type of example than Mouse. I think
Yeah.
Mouse is an egregious error, a comedy of errors that must be addressed by The Hague. Like
Yes.
a high court.
The Hague?
Like
like a really high court.
Rhymes against
yes,
humanity.
or just like
something.
just like
The
God
Green Lantern
herself.
Society.
Like
Oh,
God,
yeah. Just
like
strike down.
assemble the Avengers, call God, check if the Hague is free next week, and then let's get some sort of trial, but like by combat going on.
Yeah. By combat. Hopefully.
Yes.
I like that.
Yeah.
That. We haven't had a good trial by combat in a few centuries. I think we should go for it.
Exactly. It's like it's time to murder a fictional character over my very personal gripes with a book that I detested and still think about every now and then. Every now and then, me and my friend who read it together will go like, remember Mouse? Remember her? And the other one just goes, you know what? Fuck you. You know what? Fuck you. I was having a good day and now it's bad.
That's awesome.
So I'm very calm and collected about
Man, now I have to change the name of one of my NPCs in Ivory Tower to Mouse just to trigger you.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And
that makes sense in like Ivory Tower setting. That makes sense.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And that reference is gonna make so much sense in 8 months.
Yeah.
When the show comes out.
But,
absolutely. Until then.
No, this is just for me. This is honestly.
Yeah. No, it's
it's just
letting people know a little bit sneak peek behind the scene of our scheduling, recording schedules. So tell us, Millie, is there a TTRPG out there that you think deserves more recognition and love and respect?
I've like the cop out answer is anything but D&D. Like, I love Call of Cthulhu.
Okay.
I've been because that's where I started my TTRPG journey. As a person who ran games, like my first thing I played was Pathfinder, and then D&D, and then other things. But when I got into running games, I was like, I'm gonna do cosmic horror, and I love cosmic horror. But also like sort of in the realm of Call of Cthulhu is also Delta Green. But I do think people love Delta Green. It's like your secret agents.
I've been hearing good things about Delta Green.
Yes. And I haven't played it. So I'm just putting that out there. So maybe the universe. Like this is a direct message to the universe and to the universe only. Please let me play Delta Green. Because one of my friends, a friend that I introduced to TTRPGs, or like his first campaign is the campaign I'm running, like the D&D campaign I'm running. And then he's like, have you heard of Delta Green? Because I'm going to play it. I'm just like, how dare you?
How dare you?
How dare you? How dare you take the thing that I want for yourself when I don't have it? That's... Yeah, but yeah, so you get to be, and it seems to have really interesting like social dynamics in terms of like that being an agent who's fighting against all of this horrible shit takes a toll mentally, and you have bonds to like loved ones that you can then lean on, but then it stresses the bond out. So eventually, like your ties to the people around you, the people you need to set your character right and not be so stressed all the time, they wear away under that strain.
Yeah.
And I think that's such a cool mechanic. It's such a cool mechanic.
It's very cool, but that is real. That is real. I've had to cut. There was a person in my life like started as a coworker, then just became like a friend, and like was such, and I don't use this term lightly, such a negative Nancy that I had to cut them out.
Yeah,
Like
What's
straight
your
up had to cut them
language?
out. It was like it had gotten to the point where I was like, you are only a drain on my life. Like you never recharge me. You're only using my battery. I cannot have you around anymore. And it was like, woof.
I mean,
But,
if you wanted to be more polite about it, a whore of harm, I think, is a more correct and suitable term. Because negative Nancy is just like, I think you said that it's allowed to curse, but I think you might have to bleep it. Like it's
might have to bleep it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really out there, Justin. It's shocking. It's truly shocking.
She's a Debbie Downer. And I'll say it.
Oh my
I'll say
God.
it.
What's your language?
And
What's your language?
so
my pearls.
I love that. And moving on. And so okay. So you've GM'd for Call of Cthulhu. You've done D&D. Have you GM'd or DM'd for Pathfinder?
No. Oh God. Sorry.
I know,
sorry
same.
to the
Fair.
Sorry.
Fucking
Sorry
fair.
to the
No, totally fucking fair.
Sorry to the Pathfinder people out there, but
Yeah.
I don't want to do that.
Yeah. Not even a little bit.
Yeah.
No. Zero desire. Pathfinder showed me what it meant when some people don't like D&D because it's crunchy. I was like, oh, this is what you mean. This is how you feel about D&D. I feel that way about Pathfinder personally. And it's just me, and it's really hyper specific stuff. I think it's also my introduction to TTRPGs is D&D 5th edition. So then like you take that and run Pathfinder with it, and you're like, so you're telling me I got to do all this extra little stuff. You're telling me if I cast a spell standing next to a guy, he can make an attack of opportunity. Like little tiny rule differences are just like sometimes annoying. But
it doesn't really offer me anything that different from D&D.
Agree.
That's the thing with like the newer edition of D&D, like 5.5 they're calling it now. It's just like Jesus. It's like quality of life stuff, but it just feels like that doesn't feel different enough for me to warrant.
Agreed.
Like just at least not running towards it and being like, I have to experience this.
Right.
Yeah, my
it's
hot
the
take.
Same font, just cursive. Like it's like okay.
Exactly. My hot take is I feel that way about Daggerheart also.
Yeah.
Even though Daggerheart has that one mechanic that it makes it unique. Other than that one mechanic, to me, it's like anything I can do with Daggerheart, I could do with D&D.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's easier, and I haven't even played Daggerheart. I'm just genuinely like a little bit of a hater on that game for no reason, other than like there's just something about me that's like, yeah, I get it. It seems fine.
Yeah.
And it's just like because there are games like Call of Cthulhu and Morkborg that are like so different and like so stylized, and like it's just like if I'm gonna pick up a like low-key non-denominational game, and it's like I have Daggerheart. I haven't even read it yet because I'm like, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, my heroic fantasy needs are covered by D&D, and it might just be for the sake of habit that I remain with it. But if I were to dedicate time and effort into learning new systems, like if I want to run something different, I'll run Vampire the Masquerade. I'll run Call of Cthulhu. I'll run some OSR and just go absolutely nuts killing my players. Like that's different, and that warrants my attention, I think.
Yeah. It's very much like the same stories. Like Justin was saying, that it didn't add a new type of story to, like Daggerheart didn't add a new type of story. It just gave you a different way to tell the same story. Whereas like Morkborg is a crazy wild setting. Eat the Reich is a crazy fun setting. Like all the different settings and all the different things on top of adding mechanics or changing mechanics. Daggerheart, I don't know.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And it's not to say that Daggerheart can't do awesome things. Like obviously some of our best friends are in the Bitten campaign on Crit Hit Chronicles and Talking XP, and that series with Daniel Hargrove and Meadow and all of them, like that show fucking rocks, and it uses Daggerheart to a great effect as well. Like that was the only time I've truly sat down and watched a friend's actual play like for hours, like multiple episodes, just because we don't have the time. Right. But like I genuinely was like, okay, this is sick. Like, this is a fun thing. Is there a tiny part of my brain that's like, you could do this in D&D and just kind of like figure things out? Yeah, but like, it is what it is.
Yeah.
That being said, have you ever GM'd or played Kids on Bikes before our playing of Kids on Bikes and stuff?
I just a one shot. I think I played Kids on Bikes. Yeah, that was the only. I never ran it, but I don't. It doesn't seem very complicated. Not to
It
knock
is
your
not.
work, Justin.
No, no,
Not
no,
to
no.
knock the work, but it seems like a rules light system and one that thrives in being rules light.
It absolutely does. It's very rules light, very fun. That then, therefore, then like pushes you into the storytelling aspect of being in the GM role, because you're like, I can't depend on mechanic. I can't depend on like perception checks every 2 seconds to push the
Yeah.
story forward, or something like group checks. Like I did them a couple of times, especially in the beginning of my time running Kids on Bikes, because I was so used to it. And then very quickly I was like, brains checks don't even make sense as a one-to-one for perception checks. I'm trying to figure out how it makes sense. And then I just dropped it all together, and I was like, you know what? You guys just see shit.
Yeah.
We don't need to have a role. You just see the
Yeah.
thing, and we just push it that way. And so it helped me so much, even when I go back to D&D. Like, the things that I learned in Kids on Bikes has helped me so much that I'm like, oh, I love this. But tell us about your character, Corbin. Who are they? What are they like?
Oh, Corbin, she's a mean goth girl freak archetype. And of course she has some baggage, but she's always down for an adventure, and especially the like humble and important purpose of pissing off Dessa. That is what she needs to do. Because there was history. There was some history there.
There is some strong history there. There's like a little bit of the trope of like two friends who are very close when they're very little, and then something happens tween era or like early teenage era. I forget the exact time period of this happening. The event. I don't want to spoil anything. And then boom, we separate, and you two become like what seemed to be like complete opposites. Like, there's no way these two could ever have been friends. And then you find out, no, they were very close. Were there moments when you were playing Corbin? I can't wait for Taylor to see this season. It's like one of the first times that Taylor isn't in the show, so like is going to get to experience it the same time as our audience, kind of. So I'm really looking forward to that. But is there a time when you were like playing Corbin where you found yourself using quote unquote DM skills as a player? Does that make sense? Like, your experience as a DM helped you play Corbin. Is there anything that comes to mind as examples of that? Or
I don't really know, because I've always been a player who's rather out there in terms of characters. So I think an attention whore, if you will, always had that, not been shy to like take up space. And I think that's one of the big things that people gain as a player once they've run a few games, is just like, oh, it's cool. It's okay for me to take charge a little bit and to make something happen. So
absolutely.
So the fact that I put some stuff into my backstory that I wanted people to latch onto, that is, I guess, something. But that is also just about trusting that the others will eat the hooks, you know, with everyone being experienced at the table. And I guess doing some wild things without worrying about consequences is also something you learn from running games. Is like the fact that like, oh, the GM isn't going to kill you for doing something fun. If it
Yeah.
So yeah.
I
think only that, really.
No, that totally makes sense, because obviously you also have like just TTRPG experience. And so like it's those two things are kind of like bleeding together. I suppose the reason I asked the question is because Taylor and I are obviously the point of So You Want to Be a Dungeon Master is we're trying to help people who want to be DMs or are DMs. And we strongly believe that even if you try being a DM and running a game for your friends and you walk away being like, that's not for me. I just prefer the player position, which is fine. I still like, we would argue that you're going to be a better player now.
Yeah.
Because you've
100%.
been a DM.
100%.
Yeah. 100. Yeah, exactly.
I think you're better at seeing, like, once you've run a game or like some few games, some sessions, you get to peek behind the curtain and you start to realize what the GM is doing in terms of like, okay, you can tell when information is presented in this way, it's important and we're supposed to follow up on it. So I think getting the behind the scenes knowledge of what pushes a game forward is really one of the biggest benefits from running games. But again, I didn't have to learn that because I'm so hungry to experience a story always, to maybe like to the point where it becomes my weakness as well, where I'm like, if no one's gonna do it, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna like that kind of thing.
I feel that way often, and I feel like I'm like, it's why I consider myself such a bard maid, because like I am the type where like if there's an awkward silence, I will fill it, and like if no one, if I sometimes, you know, Taylor and I sometimes we play our home games with audio only, like there's no cameras. We're just kind of it gives us the ability to just like walk around the house and like it's just so much chiller. Although I do love playing on camera, but there are times where people are taking notes, but you can't tell because it's no cameras. And so there would be like a silence, and then I'm the player who's always like, "All right, guys, I guess we need to go. What is the plan?" Just kind of like constantly like pushing myself into scenes, and I'm like, Justin, you're not the DM. You need to chill.
Yeah,
I can feel myself doing that often, but I do want to now transition into hard mode. Activated. When should we let players know hard mode has been activated? Because there's obviously the idea of there's, you know, on one side, there's the entire thing is going to be hard mode. From start to finish, we're playing this system that demands hard mode. And we haven't even defined what hard mode is. Maybe let's start there. What do we each individually consider, quote unquote, hard mode DMing? Which is a term I've made up for the sake of this episode and titles.
Okay, got it.
But,
got it.
Like, what do you think if you were to just throw the question out onto the internet? What do you think the internet would say, or what do you believe that is, or something? For me, I'll start since I'm posing the question. I'm throwing it at you guys randomly, but like for me, when I think of hard mode DMing, I think it's very contextual based on the system that you're using, because I think that changes things. But I think when I think of hard mode, there's a part of me that thinks of playing as strict to the set of physics and rules that you've established for that world and not wavering, which would be the opposite of like rule of cool, of being like, in this context, I'll allow this thing to happen, even though whether it's the mechanics of the rules or the storytelling physics that you've set up, like, is this a Looney Tune world where you have to look down in order to fall off the cliff? Or is it a normal fucking gravity world where like if you walk off the cliff, you fall? You don't need to look down. You know, like what are we dealing with? What is our baseline for physics? And I think how strict you stick to that, which would include things like mechanics, but also storytelling and just role playing, physics, world building things of like fire is hot, you touch it, you take damage. And that's as simple as that. What do you guys think hard mode is?
I agree with the whole like balancing rule of cool versus stricter rules is a good measure of it. I also think for certain games that like a loss state is likely as well, that you
Yeah,
have to
yeah.
that like a TPK will happen unless you guys work to avoid it. I think that is also like that's hard mode for me as well, with especially some of the games that are built to kill player characters. If you act foolish, the hammer of consequences will be swift and you cannot recover from it. I think is also why are you smiling? Do you not like my metaphor?
No, I loved that metaphor. I
Yeah,
agree with
that's
it.
great.
Yeah, 100%.
Great.
Yeah, so I think that also like the how quick and how easy it is to recover
Yeah.
from consequences. Like,
Yeah. I think
So
that
true.
the stakes have to be there because, like, a lot of times, I mean, I'm just thinking in terms of Resident Evil because I've been playing a bunch of it recently. But
mhm,
there's casual mode and then there's like classic hard mode where basically everything's pretty much the same except that if you fuck around and waste all your bullets in one section, guess what? The next room you're getting eaten by zombies and there's nothing you can do about it.
mhm,
Like you've got to there comes a like tactical like resource management mindset that comes with
absolutely.
this hard mode that you have to. I only have fourth level spell slots. I have to use them to the maximum potential, or we're gonna fucking die. Like that's
Yeah, I
kind of
do think
the that
there's
that also
definitely
comes
like,
to mind of this
Mhm,
whole situation.
yeah, like a pushing you towards you as a player towards mastery of like the
mhm,
system itself.
Right.
mhm.
Because like if you're brand new to Resident Evil, then you don't maybe know to like keep your bullets really important and all those types of things. You know what I
Yep.
mean? Um,
Yeah.
I love that. I think
Tip for
So
new
that's
Resident Evil
all good
fans:
points.
don't
yeah.
just spray and pray. Single shots, slow down. 1, 2, slow down. Take your time.
I'm loving that we're getting the Resident Evil tips as well.
Yeah.
But I
That's what I'm here for.
shouted for like 10 minutes about a book. So that's, you know what? We love it. But I think then with what we were mentioning, the sort of like maybe triad of things to remember would be stricter rules, harder and faster consequences,
Mhm,
and the possibility of a lose state, as well as resource management being a part of it all.
mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Because I think in terms of D&D, like, yeah, you could just throw harder monsters, right? Like, yeah, that technically would get some of the job done to a certain degree, right? You could just make the DCs higher.
Yeah.
That could work.
Right.
But I feel like it's more than that, right? Like being a hardcore DM in this context of like you're still talking to your players, you're still getting consent, you're still having session 0. So bringing it back to that question before we even talk about what else to do other than high DCs and high
Mhm.
stat monsters, when and how should we be talking to our players about the expectations when it comes to hardcore DMing?
As soon as possible. Always as soon
Yeah.
as possible.
Amen.
When
Yeah.
you know that you will be running a game with a certain thing in it, let people know immediately. And if they don't want to be part of that, decide amongst yourself if that means you run something different or if the player will not participate. Do not force anyone into something that they're not cool with.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
never,
Yeah.
don't do it.
100%.
You're not going to convince them under pressure that suddenly getting their character's toes cut off is actually super fun. Like, you will not. You know what? Actually, I like this now. You know, it's just not gonna happen. I'm starting up 2 Curse of Strahd modules now, and I've
Oh,
told
fun.
my players immediately, like, everyone knows what Curse of Strahd is all about. I'm telling them the content warning list that I had to click on Start Playing I was just like, well, I got a ticket. I got it. Even though it's gothic horror
Yeah.
and gothic horror comes with genre expectations, I'd much rather tick every fucking content warning
Yeah.
so anyone who's not familiar with the module will know that all of these horrible things will happen. But then
Yeah.
once people have, because you need people's buy-in for especially if you're gonna run harder shit, if you're gonna run deadlier shit, if you're gonna run horror, the fun from running these more grueling games does not come from making your players uncomfortable without consent.
Right.
It does not come from that. It comes from them buying in and being willing to be scared and to be put under pressure, and them finding it fun as well. That's how you sustain that kind of game. So yeah, sorry, a bit of a rant, but
no, I think it's so important.
Yeah.
We're such big advocates of being proactive rather than reactive. It just like it alleviates all of your normal D&D or any tabletop game, but any tabletop like issues. It like potentially can, obviously it's not gonna be a perfect 100% remedy, but like you potentially are like avoiding so many bullshit issues just by being upfront and transparent about certain things.
Yeah.
And like talking about them before they happen as opposed to as or after they happen. Because it's like, it's just so much harder to be like, oh my God, guys, so sorry about last session. I stepped on everybody's triggers. My bad. Gosh.
Yeah.
Oh, geez. I really put my mouth, my foot in my mouth.
And then trust.
It's like, that sucks.
Trust is a complicated thing as well. Like, even though you have good intentions, you can end up breaking trust with someone accidentally. And then it becomes painful for everyone involved, especially if we wanted and we set out to be kind to one another and then we failed to do it because we weren't like we didn't do our due diligence in advance. So even like for more light-hearted campaigns, if I know we're gonna go into a fight like for D&D, then I'm just like, this one will have body horror in it. And I told this was a fight in a dungeon where there were like the skin of victims who had been like their bones had been taken to feed like shadow dogs and stuff like that. So all of their meat had been dumped down a blood well, and the skin, like, and then their skins came crawling up, and they could like wrap around you and like suffocate you and all of that shit.
Yeah.
Like I told people, this is gonna get gross, and then the shadow hound, could rip people's arms off as well. So it's like I had, because there was an alchemical concoction thing. This was a guy who wanted to be a mummy lord, but he used alchemy instead. He was a ranger with a shadow hound who was instead like, I'm alchemically like trying to be a mummy lord, but I'm not actually a mummy lord. I just have alchemy. I don't have magic. Which was like one of the potions he threw at them was something that I homebrewed that was it was a little bit inspired by Flesh to Stone, but it was flesh from bone. So it would just like take the flesh off of one of your limbs, and then when that happened, he would just whistle and the dog would come and eat your bones.
The bone.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
So
that's crazy.
That's the kind of stuff that happened to one of my players, and I told her in advance, and I told all of them in advance, this comes with a potential to change your characters forever. This is the kind of body horror that might change your characters. And I told them with the caveat, if you want it undone afterwards, it can be undone. We'll just have to seek it out. If you want if you want a different way of dealing with the problem, I said to her, like, you decide. Do you want the arm to stay gone? Do you want a prosthetic? Do you want like a magic prosthetic? Do you want this or that? You can do whatever you want. Like the consequence, we deal with it afterwards. Like being married to the harshness that you give your players as well should be loved by them is also a big no, I feel like. Because I think that is super cool. I think that all of those things are super cool. I think if one of my characters had the flesh rendered from their bones and their bones eaten by a shadow hound, I'd be like, sick! Give me a cool prosthetic leg.
True.
Yeah.
But like
Melina Elden Ring prosthetics.
Yeah, definitely. But leave it open to be undone as well.
Yeah.
When you hit those surprise, this is a horror encounter. Like let them undo it if they wish.
I definitely agree with that. I've encountered that too. Like your example was so far on the totally other end of the spectrum. One time I hit a player with a ghost ability where it was like, you know, they age. And this character aged like, it was a character who like their entire personality was how like young and promiscuous and like flirty and everything. And then it was just like, boom, you're 40 years old.
Oh.
And she was like, it was very like, This is before I even knew session zeros were a thing. Luckily, this is like a very close friend, and it was a home game that Taylor and I practically met in and stuff. But like, so it was so simple to just immediately be like, "Yo, long rest, and this is done." Unless
Because
you
it
want to
was
use a lesser restoration or something.
immediately
Because it was just
apparent
like
she was not cool with it. And she was
Yeah.
like,
Yeah,
"This
it was
is
like-
not cool."
so then it was like, because we all just immediately above board go, it's a long rest. Don't even worry about it. Then we can go back into the game, and we can now make it a very funny role-playing moment of the character just hating this transformation, because now the player can sit in the like peace of knowing this isn't permanent and no big deal. And now it's just a funny hiccup. You know, we can look back on this and laugh, kind of thing.
Yeah. Meanwhile, my player who lost her arm ended up going swimming in the Waterdeep harbor afterwards and got an infection, so I had to cut off more of her arm. Because it was cut off like here, and then she got an infection. I had to cut off like up to here. And I was like, you didn't have to. And I said, you didn't go to the doctor. And several characters told you to go to the doctor. And we did constitution saves as well to see if the infection took or not. And it did. And she ended up passing out in the street and had to be carried to the doctor. I'm just like, she loves this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
She loves it. But like,
Clearly.
she does. She loves being stupid. She's so chaotic about it as well.
That is such a fun player to have at the table.
Oh, yes.
But it also, I mean, we talked about this in a previous episode. It is one of those things where it's like, it's so easy to overdo. Because it's one thing to sacrifice your own character's limbs, but once you start involving other characters without them being fully on board for the consequences, then it starts to be, you know what I mean? Like, it's one thing if you're alone checking the trap and intentionally not checking for traps. It's a different thing when like the whole group is in a tiny 5x5 foot room and you're like, I'm not going to check for traps. You're like, okay, you are threatening everybody's life, actually. Like the chaos has to have some rails. I know that, to me, the idea of being like telling these really intense, hardcore stories, there's the mechanical way of doing things, which is like upping the DC or being more strict about rules, whether it's resources like ammunition and health potions and gold and how you treat that kind of stuff, and like the rarity of potions. Like, I could be much more hardcore and be like, no, this magic item is 50,000 gold. It's going to take you 3 months to make, and it's this, you know what I mean? Like, but I don't do that because I'm not that hardcore unless I am really going for a reason for it, I guess. But at least I don't think I am, because I think I'm a softie. I don't like killing players, very much like my friend from the But First, but we won't get into that.
Interesting.
But I also think, before we dwell on that, I also think that there's a way to be like hardcore DMing, whatever, through storytelling that doesn't necessarily involve mechanics. Like, obviously, you had certain mechanics involved for that potion, and then the dog bite, and the way that works in combat is very mechanical.
Yes.
However, this story idea of like, this guy throws acid things and your skin's gonna slosh off and this and that, or like how that works from a storytelling standpoint, or even just the idea of like how you describe some things, like things that the players can't necessarily interact with, like things that had already happened. Do you think, like, is there a game that is easier or more exciting to be a hardcore DM? I know obviously you love Call of Cthulhu, and it feels like that is a sort of game set up for that because of the stakes at hand. The foes that you're going against are greater than the universe, kind of these insane eldritch things. Or is there a game that you would like to try and make hardcore or something? Like, how do you feel about different systems and telling these types of stories? Like,
I think we have to play into what the system is good at. I think D&D is sort of a weird one because it is it's everything and nothing all at once. I feel like it doesn't have that clear of an identity to me. That's the weakness of being so popular. It's just like people do anything with D&D. Even if
Yeah.
it's not particularly effective, they will try it.
Tell me
I've
about
run
it.
into that as well. I've homebrewed mechanics for heisting that I put into D&D because D&D doesn't have anything for that. But yeah, with Call of Cthulhu, it just works because it's built into the system. So I don't know if I would necessarily want to take a system that is like for kids on bikes, for example, isn't meant to be deadly because we don't have HP necessarily even.
There's ways to do harm in the book.
Yeah.
I incorporated a different way of doing it that felt more interesting and more like fun, kind of, to just be like, I did it in both games, I think, because both of you guys are in Kids on Bikes actual plays that are coming out later this year, but different ones, obviously. I think in both of your guys' series, I did the same thing where I was like, do me a favor, everybody, just draw 3 circles on your sheet somewhere. Those are your 3 hit points, 3 strikes and you're out, baby. And that's it.
But even so, I don't think were you going to murder us if we were struck out?
I wasn't, but that's just because my friend, who's such a softie, has worn off on me, and now I just can't do it. But like in theory, we could have gone there. Like I wouldn't mind doing that with a Kids on Bikes game. I don't know if it would be kids, like from like there's like certain things maybe I wouldn't do from just like almost like from the sense of like a marketing standpoint of like every time I play these games and fill out these safety consent checklists, 9 out of 10 people put they don't like harm to children. So I'm always apprehensive about having like the players be kids. You know what I mean? Because it's all I'm always like trying to just make sure everything is good on that front and making sure we're being responsible when it comes to triggers and content warnings and different things. So it's like I'm a little more apprehensive on that front. But if I use the system, like in Taylor's game, they were adults. Every single person was an adult. They were part of a documentary crew hunting cryptids in the Amazon. And so death was super on the table.
Yeah.
Like I was down to potentially that it becomes a hard thing with actual plays because like you feel like a dick to the player. You're like, what, this player doesn't get to play in the last episode? Like, because it's only 4 episodes. Are we bringing in a brand new NPC for just the finale? Like, and just so that this player can continue. So in actual plays, it can be confusing, but
it is a added level of complication, definitely, with trying to make it like media that someone can consume.
Exactly. Yeah, for sure. Taylor, did you feel like there were parts in that setting? The name of that show, which again will come out end of summer-ish. I don't know exactly, beginning of fall. But it's called So You Want to Be a DM presents, the Travel Channel presents Dial T for Truth.
Interesting.
Yeah, because what if the Travel Channel had a cryptid hunting show, which they do, but this is a different one. And it's just funny. So did you ever find that I was like approaching this idea of like a hardcore DM, like were there moments in that game or maybe our home games or ever like, do I ever hit that? I don't know if I feel like there are times and I start to feel bad. That's how I know that I'm getting close to what I perceive as a hardcore DM is I start to feel bad.
So in Dial T for Truth, the last episode definitely felt really high stakes.
Yeah.
Like the last episode of us trying to get out was definitely very high stakes. As far as our
wild. Dude,
as far
a
as
helicopter just gets shot down by a laser. Like it was crazy.
But as far as our home game is concerned, yes, but every time I trace it back to like, oh man, why am I doing so bad? And then I look at it and it's like, oh no, I did this to me. I actually did. So it's generally like currently right now, I think we just got out of that fight in our home game. I'm sitting on no spell slots. I'm sitting on no anything. I run myself completely dry. And if we have another fight right now, I'm fucked. And it's my fault. I used all my spell slots. I did all the stuff. So it's not like I'm upset with you. It's that I knew this was coming and did not plan properly.
Plus, it is like we're at that level of D&D in our home game where you guys are level 15. It's high level D&D. It's like you guys are fucking gods at this point. Like it's so hard. So I have to run like 4 deadly encounters just to even compete.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like it's crazy. But on that same topic of like we want to tell these stories sometimes that like get really intense and have like hardcore consequences or are very strict about the mechanics and the physics of the world and stuff and kind of holding people accountable in a sense. How do we balance that desire, that ambition, even when it is one that the table shares? How do we balance that with not like pushing it too far and like being a dick? Because like even if we from the get-go we're like, hey gang, this one's gonna be more intense. We're gonna be keeping track of your things. There's no healing in this game. Blah 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 blah. Whatever it is, even if everyone buys in, everyone's like, yeah, we love it. Okay, cool. We're down for TPKs. Da da da. There can still be a moment where like things shift. Obviously, just because things are agreed upon in session 0 doesn't mean things can't change in the future. Whatever. But what do you guys think?
I think the thing that makes it go from being in hard mode and being a dick is singling players out. I think as long as it is fair and equitable across the board for all of the players, that you're not just taking, okay, well, 5 soldiers just run in and they're all going to gang up on this one person right now. Oh, you're ambushed, sneak attack, that person's dead. That doesn't feel good. But like, you know, I think that's one of the biggest things is kind of just not intentionally singling a player out. I think feels generally bad as a whole.
At least if it's not for any reason.
I think you can do it because I've been singled out. When I was playing my life cleric through the Descent into Avernus, I was playing. She was very militaristic, and I was so conservative with my resource use that because I was like, I'm gonna stand here and wait and see, like I'm gonna cantrip or I'm gonna dodge as my super high AC. I'm gonna dodge tank as the cleric, and I'm gonna make the DM's life hell because everyone's so hard to kill because I'm keeping everyone up. At one point, we ran into a bunch of cultists, and the DM started the fight with kill the cleric. She's the linchpin that holds them all together. And I had the toughest fight for my life during that. But it was so fun. And that it establishes the expectation immediately out of the fight. You're being singled out because you've been doing well, and I'm annoyed at you. And everyone else hears it too. Yeah, in character, everyone else hears it too. So the strategy becomes, okay, we may need to look out for the cleric a little bit more, and that we also still need to kill everyone. And it was like archers on high ground as well. And I was just like, Jesus.
Oh no. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense because there are times when like the villains are intelligent and it's just different. So it's like in Taylor's example, if like a big dumb troll walks in and is like, I've never seen you guys before.
I hate you in particular.
You have a 10 AC. I'm going after you. It's
exactly.
Like, yeah, you can make the argument that it's like, yeah, well, the troll would see that one of them is a tin can of metal and platinum. And one of them is not wearing any armor. Like, of course, there's like different things of like what the monsters would do during combat, but it is very like, because I've done that before where like it's always tricky when you're, especially with the system like D&D and stuff where like the mechanics can get so crazy high level where it's like almost impossible to have balanced combat where you have to be like, I don't want to, it's easier in a campaign because you just have more to play with. So like things average out better, right? Because like if you're just playing a one shot and you're like, man, I'm going to exploit the shit out of all of their weaknesses. I'm going to make sure that the high AC character, I'm only hitting them with saving throw stuff, blah, 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 blah. I'm going to counteract all their healing. And it's like in a one shot, that gets magnified as being like, you're being a dick, you're being adversarial. In a campaign, you do that for one combat and that's totally fine.
Exactly. Time and place, read the room, I think is definitely, and that's a skill to learn as well. But I think with trying to find the balance between when to be because I think it's good to be a dick as well, because you're supposed to be the enemies, you're supposed to be the challenge that the party rise to, and how can you do that without pissing them off a little bit? And then when they beat you, they go, ha, fuck you, and that's like, players love that shit. So you kind of have to have a little bit of thick skin, and you have to be willing to be a bit mean because of what it represents to your players. It represents the challenge that they're supposed to surmount. So, but that comes with experience, and it comes with the willingness to get it wrong as well. And then being open to being told that you got it wrong this time. Like saying the start of the combat was really fun, and then it became a slog from there because we didn't feel we had the tools to win it. And then you take that on board and you adjust, and then you rinse and repeat and rinse and repeat and rinse and repeat.
Yeah, it gets easier with time. It's the same with any part of TTRPGing, whether it's like TTRPGing, I don't like that phrase, but whether it's like just practicing with improv or like homebrew or creating encounters and combat things and balancing combat when it comes to a system like D&D, or like coming up with interesting hooks for a game like Kids on Bikes. Either way, you just get better over time. Things just eventually get easier, especially as you start to learn that table specifically. Because like I feel fairly confident with D&D at this point. However, if I get a brand new group of players and I've never played with them before, and then we do a combat, that first combat is not going to be perfectly balanced, right? Because it's like, yes, I know what a level 5 adventuring party can handle, but I don't know these players. And it's not even their characters, it's the players, right? Like, I know Taylor well enough to know that, like, I got a counterspell shield. You know what I mean? Because you talk about high AC, this motherfucker.
High AC cleric right here.
He loves that
clerics.
They're so good.
God, it drives me nuts.
And then you
get
just
into
take
a 26
dip into sorcery. You get shield, and then it goes resting AC to 26. And then
I also had shield through a homebrew magic item because I was a cleric of Helm, which is the god of protection. So I was just like, I don't want a flashy magic item. I want a shield that gives me shield. And I want that shield spell to be able to not only be cast on me, but also on others. And I said, like, that's the only thing I want. And the DM was like,
Justin, I have a
have
new
it."
request. Justin.
Not a chance.
And Taylor, when we got past a certain level, I was just like, now it doesn't work as well anymore. And he was like, yes, let's bump it up to +10.
Justin.
You don't need a +10. You don't need +10. You can get up to a 26.
The +10 meant that it was worth it to cast on squishies at times. So, because like at certain points when monsters hit so hard, that like, well, if it's a hit on a squishy, a +5 isn't going to do shit for them. It's going to do absolutely fuck all. So I was just like, we need to buff it so that I can still use it to help other people, because like that was the whole character, helping others at detriment to herself. So yeah, love a cleric.
God, I also love clerics. I love playing support.
Yeah,
I love it so much. Like, that's the kind of bard I always play.
Yeah.
Is like a support bard. I love not having to worry a ton of, like, of course you always take a couple damage spells because like you just should, but like I love intentionally not picking things. Like with my magical secrets, like I almost never pick fireball because I think it's just a great spell, and but it's cliche and I'm a hipster at heart, and so if everybody does it, I don't want to do it, so I pick lightning bolt.
Yeah,
because it's a little bit harder.
It's good.
It's awesome.
Yeah,
but it's harder to get a huge group in a line than it is to get them in a cluster. Like a magic fireball is just so much easier to hit multiple targets.
Start a combat by setting up like a free lemonade stand and just like queue this way.
Yeah.
Like a Chipotle lineup.
Bugs Bunny
just like go down the line.
Because you're a bard. You go undercover, you go into the enemy camp, you have a pop-up Chipotle stand, you tell them to queue this way only, and then when it's lunchtime, you go...
Yeah. Hell yes. I love that. That's an
Exactly.
incredible idea. I'll take that
Yeah.
into advisement.
Mhm.
So we've talked about balancing it, making sure that we're not a dick, having these conversations early and often to make sure that everyone's still bought in, that everyone's still on the same page, everyone's still feeling good about how hardcore things are and whatnot. Other than mechanics, which we've talked ad nauseum about, what are like the storytelling and role-playing ways that you could maintain that kind of integrity of being like, this is an intense story where we're going to take things kind of seriously? Is it just the content in general? Is it the tone that we're trying to set for the story and stuff like that? Like, what else is there?
Yeah, I think content and tone are very important, but consequence is king. I feel like narrative consequences is king as well. If the party burns down a building, then maybe a whole neighborhood catches fire, and they have to like live in a city knowing that they did that. So it's the way to. Oh my god, I had a moment where it was a tiny thing. My bard made someone's automatons, a young woman who had made automatons to like serve a banquet that was hosted in her honor for her birthday. She had made them herself and she was very proud of them. To do a distraction, the bard creatively used a spell to disable one of the automatons so it fell over. But this young woman felt so bad about like her work not working, and she started panicking, and then her father came over and like had to sort of scold her and whatever. And my player, this is the same player whose arm I ate, by the way.
Okay.
As I was role playing out how much this affected the NPC, that player went, I have never felt so bad for something that I've done in a TTRPG game before. And she had just made a robot fall over and drop some plates.
Yeah.
Right.
That's all that, like, giving weight to what the players do in those moments can make them be like, no, this is serious. No, wait, I feel bad.
Yeah.
It's, I think, and that's a tiny consequence. So amplify that for like a big consequence.
Right.
Them feeling like, because that's honor your players' choices by making them matter in the narrative. And that really helps. Like, that gives a harder feel to the world, because then it's just like, oh, we can't just fuck around. Well, we'll find out. If we fuck around, we will find out.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. I've started to like incorporate into some of my prep for a specific session or like a specific encounter, kind of like in my notes, very like bulleted, not like a ton of detail. I'll fill in the blanks later, but like I'll put something to the effect of, I'm kind of making it up on the spot, but like, if okay, this town is under attack, the party is there, and then I'll draw like 2 arrows and I'll be like, if the party helps people evacuate, this happens. And then if they don't, like, that's fine. They'll get out easier. The party, at least, right?
Definitely.
They'll get out more
Choices.
unscathed. They'll have more
Choices that matter.
resources. But yeah, just it's always like a little thing of reminding myself to like circle back. Because like eventually they're gonna come back to this town. They did not help people explicitly. So okay, now I know to make that a point to mention that it has weight, it has meaning.
Something happened because of that. Yeah.
Yep.
Exactly. Yeah, some kind of detail, just showing that choices matter, because there's always like the time when you have new players and stuff and you're a little more lax about choices, you know, like a player casts suggestion in the middle of a tavern and you're like, okay, I'll let this one go.
Yeah.
Just so you know though. Like,
suggestion
has verbal components, so everyone knows you're casting a spell. Suggestion doesn't work like this, where you just go, and I suggest you give me that wine for free. It doesn't work that way.
That's also a way of making the game a bit harder. Be tougher on your fucking spellcasters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Require those material components. Oh no, did we lose
tougher
Millie?
on your fucking spellcasters.
No. Yeah, 100%.
Oh, have I been lost?
No, you're good. You're good. You're just starting to lag every few seconds, but barely. Most of the time, you're good. It's only happened like 2 times throughout the whole hour and a half.
But yes, be tougher on your spellcaster.
Is it like like a strobe effect? Yeah, because spellcasters will run away with your game. if you don't
Oh my
check
god, 1,000,000%.
when
Who does that?
yeah,
Justin?
when and how and where it is appropriate to do magic. Like if you let them do
Yeah.
magic in front of the king without anyone reacting to it, yeah, of course. That makes the game a lot easier for them. But
Right.
that I don't like that it shouldn't be. You already get to cast fireball.
I know, right? Like,
You
I'm
already have
not
crazy
gonna.
cosmic powers.
Yeah,
I know, like
literally.
the fact that I'm already like you're casting fireball, you're doing so much damage, and now I'm gonna let you like perfectly move this sphere in the perfect spot as
Mm.
combat is happening 6 seconds around. You can perfectly time this fireball so that you can shoot it there and still hit this enemy here, but not your friend 2 feet away from them. Sometimes I'm like, what are we doing? There's also times where I've felt like part of me wants to be more strict because there's like a setting that I have in mind. Taylor and I have been it's like a back burner project because it's one that we feel so good about. And so we're like, let's do it when things are perfect. But it's called Beastia is the name of the continent. The project is called Beasts and Bastards. And it's Game of Thrones meets Zootopia, right? So there's the Kingdom of Mammalia, the Kingdom of Reptilia, the Amphibian Isles, so on and so forth. So it's like lots of puns and silly stuff, but also like hardcore. This is the one, it's going to be our crown of candy, essentially. Like this is the one of the settings and projects where like I tell the players to make 2 characters out the gate. Like your first character will die, probably. I'm not necessarily like just going to like, who knows what'll happen, but like I'm coming for you guys. Like, like there's no resurrection. Resurrection doesn't even exist. I'm going to not allow people to take healing word. You only can take cure wounds. So you have to be up on people to heal them. Like certain forms of magic are considered heretical by the church and like all these different like rules and extra things to just limit your characters and what you're able to do. And obviously that part of that just has to do with the fact that D&D is a system for heroes and playing these godlike characters. So I have to like hamstring everybody if we use D&D. If we use a different system, I could do different things. But like if we were using D&D, it would have to be low level, stripping all these things back, taking care of ammunition and things, letting everyone know ahead of time, like the people that you're fighting are not dumb. You're not fighting like a big silly monster with an intelligence of 2 who's like, oh, I don't know who to hit. Or, oh, this person went down to 0 hit points. They're not moving. Move on to the next target. Like, no. You're fighting assassins. If they down you, they will keep hitting until you're dead.
Yeah.
It's just that simple. And so for that type of setting, I want to talk to everybody about that and like let everybody know ahead of time. Be really, really transparent and upfront about the whole thing. This is the setting. This is what it's about. We're doing it for these reasons because it adds to the story and the mechanics support all of this. Also, don't want to be a dick. Hence being transparent about it and stuff like that. But how do you like, is there ever a time where you want to like throw a surprise at somebody where like maybe things ramp up intensity? Because I think there's always an interesting thing that like I know how I feel about it. I'm at the point these days where it's like fully about consent. Like I don't care about this. The story comes second to everything else, to like players' mental health and all those kinds of things. So like the story can go fuck itself as far as I'm concerned. Like even if it would be like a cool moment to catch Millie off guard and be like, actually, this funny goofy game, your character's dead. Like, yeah, the reaction would be clickbait. That's awesome, I guess, for the sake of marketing. But like now Millie and I friendship is lessened by this like betrayal. So like, how do you do a surprise? Should you do a surprise? You know what I mean? Like, how does that work?
I think it is then important because one of my players has a character with a bit of amnesia, and I have told him I'm gonna be mean when I fill in some blanks for you, and he said yes, please hurt my character. But there's still a lot of discussion that's going on about sort of what would be too far. So you have to be like a little bit vague, a little bit sneaky, but the best policy is always, if you're really uncertain how something is going to land, maybe don't do it. Like if there's a part of you, like if you got a gut feeling that tells you this could either be amazing or it could be horrible for this person, then it might not be the right moment. Or I mean, if you're willing to try, but you're gambling with something that is more precious than a cool moment in a story, and that is trust and respect for your players. But then again, then sometimes you have those players who said you know that scene of from Brooklyn Nine-Nine, Adrian Pimento, who's like, you can kick me, stab me, bite me. All of that is a-okay. I am fine with being this and that. And just like, if you have one,
is on the table.
Yeah, on the table, all of that stuff. If you have one of those players, maybe aim those things towards them and see how everyone else reacts, to see like, oh, that was cool, or that was, don't do that to me, please. Like that.
Right.
Like, you can test the waters a little bit. And usually the player you can be the meanest to is the player who has been a DM.
Incredible point. I love that. I love that. I will also say
the DMs are down for it. They are absolutely down for it.
Most of the time.
And also, I feel like the DM characters also, or players also, know that it's a swing at something and aren't going to take it personal.
Yeah.
They're like, they'll know that you're trying something and, hey, just out of hand, that didn't really land very well.
And the DM knows that they can then come to you just like, okay, this is what I like. I liked this, and this about it. Let's keep that. Can we tweak this part? It's the only thing I don't like about it.
Right.
And then you're in a conversation. I think, it is way less risky to do big swings towards a DM because the DM knows that nothing is set in stone.
Right.
For players, it so often feels like once something has happened, it is cemented as part of the story. And it's not like retcons exist. What has happened is not holy. We don't need to like worship it just because it happened in a moment.
Agreed.
So, yeah, all of those things.
Yeah, I agree. That's amazing. The last thing I'll say is sometimes what I do for the sake of surprises like this, but also getting consent, is I will ask for consent from every player. And then even though it's only happening to one player.
Yes.
So for example, like before an actual play, I'll message every single player privately and I'll go, how would you feel if one of your parents, like your character's parents, of course, were the evil BBEG? How would you feel about that? Just hypothetically. Every character buys into it. And then what you find out later is that I told the 2 players I asked that I was asking every player. But I only asked those 2 players.
It was. So
I asked Taylor.
I didn't know.
Hey Taylor, don't worry. I'm asking everybody. Lie. That is it okay if I make a close NPC the BBG? That way Taylor is like, can give me the consent, but also it's still in their head, like being like, oh, it could be this person's parent. It could be this person's parent. And so there's still like a little bit of a surprise, but you still like very much got the consent. Obviously, communication is huge. You shouldn't lie to your friends, but sometimes
I mean, a DM's heart should be kind at its core, but I think it should be shrouded in lies, deception, and mischief. I think that is like you have to. You have to.
That's beautiful.
You have to keep so many secrets as well.
Yeah.
Like, and you have to hold them so tightly. And especially when all of the people you would want to talk to about the secrets are your players. You're just like,
right.
I know.
I'm being narratively edged by myself, and no one but me has done it to me.
No. Yep, absolutely. Okay. Like always, at the end of our episodes, we like to thank our sponsors. We have so many out there. Goodness, it's so hard to keep track of them all. But Millie, do you have a sponsor for this episode for us today?
Well, I will. Yes. So a little pitch to those who are listening. Has no one been mean enough to you recently? Would you like to have your feelings hurt a bit more often? Would you like to have the insults that are thrown at you to be organic and grown responsibly, in touch with nature? Well, then come to Hatred Farms and pick out your favorite insults, and I will ride around in my tractor and call you a bitch.
Well, that's all we can get into this time. You can find us on TikTok and Instagram at So You Want to Be a DM, or you can ask us a question, So You Want to Be a DM at gmail.com. If you like the episode, don't forget to give us 5 stars and review wherever you found us. Check out the Patreon, the Twitch, and our merch with the link in the description. And join us next time for more Dungeon Master tips and tricks.
Bye.
Bye.
Hey gang, it's Justin. I have the honor of giving a shout out to the members of our Patreon gang. Nubmuffins, may Palor's light shine upon you. Marsavies, have you watered your flesh prison lately? Yazvi, the eternal library where color and community await you. Millie Odegard, who gets yet another level up. And there's Elijah, Tappy, and Linguini. Gang, we appreciate and love you. Tune in next time for more tips and tricks from So You Want to Be a DM.